Hey everyone, welcome back to White Sparrow Living, Luke 12:6. This is Wendy. I'm so happy you're here, and if you're new, I hope you'll hit that subscribe button down below so that you can be notified every time I upload a new DIY video. In today's video, we're doing a collaboration with Hillary over at the Old World Home, and it's a $5 Goodwill challenge that she does every so often, where you buy things from either the Goodwill or a yard sale or thrift shop, something, but it can't be more than $5. So I hope everybody is safe. I hope you enjoy this video, and if you do, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you think. So let's get started. So for this challenge, I got 3 items. Well, 2 of them are from Goodwill, and then one of them, the table, was from a yard sale. But it was only $5 because they were getting ready to close up, and she just gave me half price. So the first thing I got was this tray that was actually at the Target dollar spot originally, but then I picked it up at the Goodwill for $3.99. Lola wants to see what's going on. So it was pretty roughed up, and somebody had tried to paint it, and they were probably doing a DIY, so I got it for $3.99. And then also for $3.99, I got this folding wicker storage basket, and it didn't even have a bottom. And so I don't really know what it was used for originally, but it folds up, and the wicker stuff was kind of torn up and faded, but it was still in good condition. There weren't any like breaks or tears or, ripped up pieces. So, well, here's Lola again. She's just wanting to get in all the pictures. So here's that table. And like I said, it was only $5, but I'm not even really sure what it was. And it had been sitting in my garage for quite a while. And so she got it, I think she said from a storage unit or something. But anyway, so it had kind of an interesting bottom, and I really should have cleaned this up before I showed you guys all my cobwebs from sitting in the garage. But it was, I thought, pretty interesting because it was just straight sides, and it did have a wood grain top. It wasn't heavy enough to be a real wood top, but I thought I could do something with it. So anyway, since I'm showing you Lola here, she always gets camera shy. She's our rescue that my husband picked up one day at work in the fields, and she just jumped in and has never gone back. And then this is our rescue that was my mother-in-law's dog. This is Ozzy, our little Batman. I think he's trying to avoid the camera, so now he's off. Okay, so we're going to start with the tray, and the first thing I did was cover it with some butcher paper just so that you didn't have to look at my light the whole time, but also to mask it off because I'm going to sand it down, and then I'm going to whitewash it with some chalk paint and water. And so I just took it outside and used my rotary sander, and there were a couple holes on the side, and so I got all the paint and the sticker off and everything that was sticking out. And then I took my white chalk paint and used a little Dollar Tree container and added some water to it, and then just brushed on a pretty generous amount. And I probably shouldn't have done as much as I did because I want to keep it wet, and then I'm going to wipe it off with a paper towel. Some of the areas started to dry too fast because chalk paint is, notorious for drying so quickly, and that's one of the benefits to having chalk paint instead of an acrylic paint. So I just brushed it on and then wiped it off with a paper towel and did that all the way around. And then at the top rims, I just did it a little darker, a little more solid. But if your paint dries up on you, just use some more of the water and put it onto your paper towel or rag or whatever you're using, and then it'll kind of moisten up again, and then you can wipe it off. So before I painted the outside areas, I filled in the holes with some spackle from Dollar Tree, and I just shoved it into the little holes and then wiped it off and just made sure that there wasn't any leftovers or chunkies on the outside. And so after I got that done, I went ahead and took my antique wax from Waverly and just added a bit of that to some white, and then took a brush and just lightly dry brushed it onto the sides over the white. So once everything was dry, I went in with my sanding block and just started sanding on the corners and all of the edges just to give it a rustic and worn look. So to cover the mirror part of the inside of my tray, I used a Dollar Tree placemat, and it has lines in it, so it was easy to follow along and get a straight edge to make it fit in there. And then I'm going to just cut it down with my scissors, and then I'm going to use some adhesive dots from the Dollar Tree to place in all four corners and cover up my mirror. So to use these adhesive dots, all you do is separate the two pieces. The paper backing comes off and you leave it on the clear side, and then you attach it to whatever surface you're trying to stick down, and then you pull off that clear tape from the back, and then the adhesive stays on whatever you're tacking down. I still have the butcher paper underneath just so that it cuts down on the shine from my light and the reflection. Oh, and so you can't see me. And so I just wanted to show you how to do that. So now I'm going to attach two handles to the top sides of the tray, and I just measured in so that I could get them perfectly centered in the middle of the side. And I just used my pencil to mark where those holes are going to be. And then I took a nail and hammered it in to give me a pilot hole so that I could go back in with my drill and make tiny holes at each of those areas. I can't screw these in, and so the only way I could figure out how to attach them is with E6000, some glue, and a dowel. So I can fix anything with a dowel, E6000, and hot glue. But so I just made the holes, put some E6000 inside, stuck my dowels in, and then put some more hot glue on top of the dowels, and then shoved my handles onto that. And for the life of me, I just cannot remember where I got these handles, but I have a little bin that says handles and knobs, and so anytime I see something that's a handle or a knob, I will put them inside. And I also put my finials from curtain rods that I either am no longer using or I've gotten from somewhere else, and those always come in handy. So keep your finials, knobs, and handles. And like I always say, it's not hoarding if you use it. So now I'm going to take this stencil wheel from Dollar Tree and put a feather in the front corner of the tray, and I just use this spouncer is what it's called, and I didn't even make that word up, but I like it. And so I just took some black chalk paint and put very little on there, and then just started very lightly pouncing on top of the stencil, and then just got darker and darker as I went, and made sure not to move it at all so that it didn't smudge or seep under the edge of the stencil. And here it is all done, and I really love how this turned out. And you would never know that this was a mirror for the wall if that's what it was for in the first place, but I only have a plant in here now so I could show you the insides as well. but I didn't even paint the handles. I loved how they looked against the white. And then with the feather, if you don't think of it as a fish skeleton, I love that too. You didn't think of it until right now, huh? So here it is with some more pretties in here. These DIY Starbucks drinks, I did a DIY with that, and I'll link the playlist for those in the description box below. But I love how the sanded edges just give it a whole different look and feel, but I feel like it's very farmhouse, and this was really pretty easy to do. So for $3.99, I think it's a pretty good deal. Now moving on to the wicker bin, there really was nothing to this other than the spray painting and a little bit of embellishing, but I just had my sweet Michael J go outside and paint it with some spray paint. The only reason I don't use spray paint more often, well, on this you pretty much have to because of the little nooks and crannies. There's no way of getting a brush in there. I mean, it would take forever, but the only thing I don't like about spray paint is the smell, and so it tends to smell long after you've done this project, even after it's dried. So anyway, I don't know why they can't make a spray paint that smells like flowers. But in this case, this is Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch, and it's got a primer and the paint mixed together. So I used 2 of these Dollar Tree Peace, Love, and Joy tags from Christmas, and I just took those apart and sanded off the glitter. I'm going to use that as the back, but just in case they show, I'm going to give that a coat of white chalk paint as well. But I'm going to use the back sides for the front. And so all I did was put my chalk paint on, and then I gave it 2 coats, and then took my sanding block again and distressed the sides and a little bit on the insides. And then I'm going to take my Silhouette Cameo 3 and cut out Love Grows. And so I just went through all the same steps that you see me do all the time. And after I measured the size that I needed for my decal, I just cut those out and placed them onto the tags sideways. And if you don't have a cutting machine, these will be available in my Etsy shop, and that's White Sparrow Living, and I will link it in the description box below. So now I'm going to attach my tags together, and I just used some hot glue to put them at an angle and one a little bit higher than the other, and so you could see both words clearly. And then I'm going to take some black and white buffalo check ribbon that I got from Hobby Lobby on sale during Christmas for $5. And I'm going to use the fold over method where I fold it over 3 times on each side. And then I'll cut it off, and I'll find the halfway point by folding it in half and then make little slits in each one of the pieces of ribbon so that my chenille stem can go into those grooves and it's easier to move the loops around. So then I'll take my chenille stem and crunch it in the middle and wrap it around and twist it in the back. And then I'll dovetail the edges and then fluff out my loops, and I move one to the right, one to the left, and then one in the middle, and then do that same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to take some jute twine and I'll cut it at an angle so that it'll fit into the holes of my tags, and I'll attach all of this to the top of my basket at the handle. And here's how this turned out, and I am absolutely in love with this. I don't think I will be able to put it outside because it is wicker and it's not waterproof, but I just got a plant and stuck it inside, and it's the perfect size. And I think the green and the white, you guys know I love those colors. And so I ended up spending $1 for each tag and then $3.99 for the basket. So for $6, this is what we came up with. So now for our final project, I am going to make over this side table, and I just took all the stickers off and then painted the bottom part. My brush was too big for my bottle. I really should have gone in and got a different one, but at first I tried some acrylic paint and I really didn't like the finish of that, and then I used the paint that Michael J had used on my shiplap wall, the interior paint, and I didn't like that either, so I went back to my chalk paint. And then I took my antique wax and did the top. And this, you're supposed to put it on and then wipe it off. And it was really pretty, and I liked the color. It was really pretty. But I decided when I was putting it on, I loved that dark, deep brown that it had when it first went on. So what I did, you guys might not like this, but I went and put a whole bunch on and then just wiped off in certain places with a towel. And I am in love with this finish. It is so rustic and so worn looking. And I feel like it looks like one of those spindles or the spools, you know, that you get wire on. So then I went in and I printed out a clock to put on top of the table. And so I just cut that out all the way around, and then I'm going to take my Mod Podge, and I first put a pretty generous layer on the bottom, and then I put my clock over the edge so that it kind of hung off. And then I'm going to take more Mod Podge and place it on top of that and over the entire top just to give it a good seal. And it was such a nice day today. I worked outside and Michael J had cleaned the pool so it looked pretty after a storm that we had just a couple days ago. And so it was really relaxing, and it was a distraction from all of the news. And so I would advise people to turn off their news just to get some peace and try to keep calm and carry on. And so here it is, all done and dried, and it did take a while to dry. The Mod Podge was so thick, but I absolutely love the way this came out. I feel like it's very rustic and farmhouse looking, and I know I'm not normally a dark wood person, but I am just in love with this. I really should have placed this horizontally because the lines should be going the other way, but I was just so excited to show you guys. I just stuck it out there and started filming. So I'm going to show it to you with something on top and then with all the pieces together at the end. And I get a lot of questions about the music of my videos, and I put in the description box who the artist is and the name of the song, but it's called So Young at Heart, and it's by Judson Crane. And no, I'm not the one playing the piano. Somebody asked me that, a couple people actually, and I wish I could. And I don't know who Judson Crane is either. I wish I knew him, because he is extremely talented and I think inspired in one way or another. So I ended up spending $6, $5, and $5. So not counting the stuff inside, although the things inside of the tray, that's another DIY that'll be in my playlist down below for spring. And those were the price of those Starbucks drinks. But anyway, I really hope you guys like these. And don't forget to check out Hilary's channel at Old World Home. And I hope everybody has a blessed day, stay safe, and remember to always be the light. Bye.